Call the meeting to order. I'm gonna let everybody in, John. Let me know when you're all set.
We are good.
Okay, perfect. Agenda review and dispositions, is there anything to add to the agenda?
I do not have anything to add or take off.
All right, perfect. And minutes of February 7th, 2022.
Make a motion to accept as written.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Privilege of the floor, number 1. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Is there anyone that would like to speak during privilege of the floor, number 1? How about on Zoom? No? Okay, well, thank you. Move on to discussion items. District meeting prep.
So there's not much to prep. It's all the same handouts as the budget hearing that were posted on the website. And the moderator runs this meeting, so you don't have to do anything except move the articles. And that's it, unless you have any questions for me. There's annual reports out in the gym for people to pick up if they need it.
Perfect, thank you. 2022, 2023 school year calendar.
So I have a draft calendar for 22, 23. Tanya is going to review it. I'll just let you know before you have it in hand that I met with the co-president of the union and conferred with them regarding this. And we did build in the assumption that the negotiated CBA changes would be included in this. So it includes those for our discussions.
Is this different than what's in our packet?
No,
Okay. Okay.
So has Massachusetts moved their dates, or it seems like it's later this year? Was it this year later? Kind of moved from into February into March, and no, I guess April's still in April. Okay.
I think it's just we typically go whatever the week after
Yeah.
President's Day week for February, and then
Yep.
the last week
In April.
in April.
So you'll notice in August, there are 4 days of teacher in-service days. Thursday, the 25th, would be our primary open house, which we began this year. Then August 29th would be the first day of school. There'd be 3 school days in the month of August. And then in September, we would again have that long Labor Day holiday over Labor Day weekend, so a nice 4-day weekend. Slow roll into school so that everyone gets used to being back. During the month of October, Columbus Day is off, it's a Monday. And then in the month of November, I wanted to point out, we have had discussions at these meetings regarding the election day, which would be Tuesday, November 8th. And what we are proposing for that day is that it be a no school day, but it also be parent-teacher conference day, so that we wrap both of those into the same day. November 11th, which is Veterans Day, we would honor as no school. The 23rd, we are proposing as a half day before the Thanksgiving holiday, and then off for both the 24th and the 25th. During the month of December, we are proposing a half day on the 23rd, and then that whole next week off. Starting in January, the 2nd is the observation, or when we observe New Year's Day, and then the 16th is Martin Luther King Day, so that day would be a no school day. February is a pretty wide open month. Hopefully some dates for winter program, and then our winter recess begins, as Fran noted, starting on the 27th of February, running through the 3rd of March. We are proposing March 16th as a half day for the winter parent-teacher conferences. So that should have an asterisk next to it on the calendar.
In January?
In March 16th. And then spring recess, the last week of April, the 24th through the 28th. May is a very wide open month with the 29th as Memorial Day, only day off. And our last scheduled, moving on to June, we would tentatively schedule graduation for the 7th. And our last student day would be scheduled for the 9th. We would propose that as a half day. It's not marked on your calendar. I'd like to edit this document to show the last student day is a half day on June 9th. And the last teacher work day would be the 12th, the following Monday for the CBA.
So you do need to vote on the calendar unless you have any questions about it.
This takes into account all of the days that we were looking at.
Correct.
Okay.
The version you have says January 13th as a teacher in-service day. That's a mistake. We will not be having that teacher. That's leftover from the high school.
Oh, but it's not in, it's just a,
It's not
It's not-
grayed out
it's
on
just
the,
in the notes,
on the
yeah.
calendar. It's on the notes on the far left.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the calendar?
I make a motion that we accept the calendar as
Second.
recommended.
A second?
All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm in favor.
What?
Aye, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was a little slow.
No,
A little
that's
slow on the
okay.
uptake tonight. Sorry.
All right, thank you. That looks good. All right, COVID review.
so last month when we had the meeting, you had made a motion in regards to masks and said you wanted to review it every month. Since that time, right before vacation, I believe it was a few days before vacation, all districts were notified that school boards no longer have the authority to require masks and recommend masks. So that, I sent something out a week before on that piece. The other piece that came out is in regards to school buses, that came out right before vacation. And the CDC and the U.S. Department of Transportation, school buses are exempt from the TSA requirement. You know how planes you have to wear, school buses were included before it's no longer required there anymore. So we sent something out, you may have seen it on the news this morning as well. We also lifted that piece in accordance with what schools can and cannot do. So it changes pretty swiftly and quickly, and so at this point, Department of Health does not recommend masks indoors or outdoors for New Hampshire, so school boards do not have the authority to exceed that.
Who makes, what law was that passed? To say
So,
that we-
It
Curious.
was the Department of Health, right before break,
Yeah.
took that off the table. And previously to that, the Department of Health recommends, or they can require quarantining, which they still do if you are test positive for COVID, or they require masks if you want to return back 6 to 10 days, but they don't recommend masking anymore. So therefore, you can't do, the school boards no longer have authority with the educational rules and regulations too. It was very clear in the advisory that we got from the commissioner and the governor's office. So
Okay.
that's that piece. We are reporting only weekly now. The Department of Health, a few weeks prior to the masking being lifted, they are no longer tracking or taking reports from us for clusters or outbreaks or anything like that. So it's just parents reporting, and then we've been reporting by week. That's what we have to report to the Department of Health. So they really have lifted many of the requirements that we had to do prior to last month for the past 2 years. So any questions on that? No?
No.
That's all I have on it. And then I won't report on it monthly unless you would like me to provide information. I don't have anything additional unless if something else comes up from the Department of Health, I'd be happy to share it, but I'd like to take it off the agenda at this point.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
Unless it
And
can come through the principal's report, or unless there's a significant increase, obviously, I'd bring it back to the table.
Yeah,
Okay?
yep,
Agreed.
all right,
That's all I have.
good deal. Other business? No? Okay. Privilege of the floor, number 2.
I have a calendar comment,
Okay,
which you may or may not be able to ever do anything about, but with the way that President's Day falls, and then vacation, and then school board meeting, and then town voting, and then town meeting, it's a heck of a lot for parents the minute you get back from vacation. Just a comment.
and we don't have control over, is that true, that,
Over how busy it is?
no, over when we vote?
Well, there's some flexibility, there's some flexibility in it, but there has to be a certain amount of time between the budget hearing and the district meeting. Typically, boards do not like to have voting done on vacation weeks because most families are gone. So we've had to move that a little bit. So if vacation week is late, voting typically happens right after that. It is busy.
Seemingly some year soon, when President's Day moves up again, this is going to go away for a couple years, right? Because this has not happened in the,
No, it's just the next two. I think it's this year, it was an issue, we've had to move some, and then next year, and then maybe a little bit the year after, then it should.
I think next year, I believe the town election is on the 14th next year. Isn't it the second Tuesday of March? So it won't fall on the 7th. I believe it'll fall on the 14th, which there'll be a little bit of time after break before we have to jump into that for next year. That's my recollection, that it's the second. Second Tuesday? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at November.
Yeah,
It is the second Tuesday.
right. So March 14th would be
I see what you're saying.
the
Okay.
week we're in the current week we're in next year will be a week later.
Thank you for pointing that out, Phil. So that,
well, won't we also if, no, it'll be the same, okay. The next year, 24? President's Day is going to be sooner again one of these years, just not for a while. All right, someday.
is there any other public comment? Anyone on Zoom? No? All right. Thank you. Anyone, everybody sign off on,
Yes.
okay? And then make a motion. Someone want to make a motion to go into non-public?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor? Going into non-public?
Sorry.
Aye.